If you know that you are going to be giving the homeowner that you're speaking to the best possible result, it is your moral obligation to help them make a buying decision for you, right? Towards you. If you don't, and you just let it go, and they end up, not because of you, but in spite of you, they end up going with a competitor and having a bad experience because they went with a cheaper quote because they didn't see the value in what you were selling, that's your fault, right? I 100% believe that. You have the moral obligation to help homeowners make the best decision, the decision that's in their best interest. And if you believe, after speaking with them, after meeting with them, that your painting company is going to be the best solution for the problem that they're trying to solve, then again, it's your moral obligation to help them make a buying decision, right? Like I said before, this does not mean being aggressive or being pushy or being sleazy or being misleading or being high pressure. We don't want to do any of that. But most people need a bit of help to make a decision. So let's help them make the decision they want to make and be the obvious choice.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe.
What's up, everybody? Mike Hickman here, founder of paintergrowth.com, and you are listening to the Painter Growth Podcast, Solo Edition. Now, this is going to be a really fun one, guys, because we are going to be talking about objection handling and a sales process. How do you get fewer objections? Can you pre-handle objections? How do you handle the objections when they come up? It's too expensive. I want to think about it. I need to talk to my wife. I need 3 quotes. We're going to talk about all of that and more today. So if you want to get better at sales, get better at closing, then let's go, guys. Now, there's a lot of reasons people get objections, right? Now, in theory, if you think back, sales is actually the transfer of trust. You don't need to be pushy to be a good salesperson. You just need to be able to transfer the trust that you feel in yourself and in your own company to the other person. So if you can be the best person at transferring trust and being trustworthy, by extension, you're going to become the best salesperson, right? So we're not talking about being pushy or being salesy or being slimy or sleazy or doing unethical things or any of that, but we want to be the best people at transferring the trust that we have in our company to the homeowner, to the person that we're selling to. Now, we're going to get to objection handling, but of course, the best objection is no objection, right? Ideally, we get to the end of the sales process, we go to close the client, we offer, we make our presentation, we make our pitch, and they just say, yes, sounds good. Where do I sign? Do you take cash or check, right? That's what we want to get to. And we can get there a lot of the time with a good sales process. And then the objection handling is kind of like the icing on the cake when you need to do it. So, ultimately, a homeowner has invited you into their home because they want a service done. Very infrequently do we get invited into homeowners' homes, right? Scheduling time out of their day, them scheduling time in our schedules, with no intention of getting any painting done, right? That doesn't happen very often. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit on the pre-sales call that I'll take you through right away. But basically, most people need, like, they invite you because they invite you into their home because they want to make a decision. They want to make a decision to paint, and they're trying to figure out which painting contractor they should go with, right? I typically, by the time they've gotten to the point where they're calling contractors to come into their home, they've already made the decision that they're going to get some work done. They just don't know who they're going to get it done by and what the scope is that they're going to get done, right? But if they've at least made that initial effort, they're going to be getting some work done. So if you believe in your heart of hearts that you are the best solution for their problem, you are going to provide them the best paint job that they can get in your city out of all of your competitors. You're going to be the most professional. You're going to give them the best customer communication, the best, most thorough proposal. You have all of your insurance. You're going to give them the best end result, the smoothest lines, the best finished product, the cleanest job site. If you know that you are going to be giving the homeowner that you're speaking to the best possible result, it is your moral obligation to help them make a buying decision for you, right? Towards you. If you don't, and you just let it go, and they end up, not because of you, but in spite of you, they end up going with a competitor and having a bad experience because they went with the cheaper quote because they didn't see the value in what you were selling, that's your fault, right? I 100% believe that. You have the moral obligation to help homeowners make the best decision, the decision that's in their best interest. And if you believe, after speaking with them, after meeting with them, that your painting company is going to be the best solution for the problem that they're trying to solve, then again, it's your moral obligation to help them make a buying decision, right? Like I said before, this does not mean being aggressive or being pushy or being sleazy or being misleading or being high pressure. We don't want to do any of that. But most people need a bit of help to make a decision. So let's help them make the decision they want to make and be the obvious choice. Okay. With that being said, we got that out of the way. We're going to go through the sales process from a high level right now. We're going to pre-frame objections to try to avoid objections from happening in the first place. And then we're going to get to the objections. The main 4 objections that we're going to talk about: money, I need 3 quotes, I need to think about it, and spouse partner objection. But let's see if we can get there without having to deal with any of those objections, right? Cool. So a lead comes in. We're going to start the sales process with our pre-sales call. Now, if you're in our Painter Growth program, you know this is called the lights out setup call. But on this call, essentially, you're going to call the homeowner in a very professional way, and you're going to take them through a 10-step script, not even a script, but like a call outline. On this call, you're going to ask about their budget, right? Have you thought about a budget? Are you, do you have some money set aside for this? Their timeline. Okay, when are you thinking about having this project painted? Is it like next week, next month, next year? Like, give me an idea on timeline, right? Decision makers. Okay, when we come out for your quote tomorrow at noon, is there anyone else involved in the decision-making process? Right? You don't have to go out old school and say, hey, do you have a husband? Do you have a wife? You don't have to say that, but you can say, is there anyone else involved in the decision-making process? I just want to be sure that if I'm coming to answer your questions, if there's anybody else that's involved, they might have questions for me too. And it's just really important that anyone who is involved in the process just has the opportunity to ask me the questions instead of trying to relay them to them secondhand afterwards. So out of respect for you and anyone else involved, is there anyone else involved in the decision-making process who needs to be there? Right? Very respectful way to ask. Okay. Scope. What are you looking to have painted? Right? Have you thought about the ceilings? Okay, you're just looking at the walls. What does the trim look like? When was it last painted? And then most importantly, on this pre-sales call, the lights out setup call, I recommend doing a trial close. Okay. And throughout the sales process, we're going to do 3 trial closes. This is the first one. Okay. This is the first of 3 trial closes, and each of them, I believe, are equally important. But this one, again, very important. Yeah, they're all equally important, and they're all a 10 out of 10 of importance. So on this pre-sales call, you're going to call the homeowner and you're going to basically say, hey, all right, so when I come out to give you a quote, here's how it's gonna work. We're gonna sit down at your kitchen table, we're gonna chat about it, we're gonna do a walk through home. I'm gonna show you exactly what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get a full understanding of the scope. And you're gonna understand our process that we're going to do to paint your home. Then I'm gonna go out to my vehicle, I'm gonna write up a detailed proposal, complete with an exact price that it's gonna cost us to complete your project. And then when I come back in, I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do and the exact price. Now, if the price is within your budget and you trust that we're going to do a good job, are you going to be ready to secure a spot on our schedule? Okay. That's the long way of doing it. You can go back and listen to that again. Just hit the negative 30 second on the podcast if you want to listen to the long one again. Or on the quick one, on the quick version is, all right, so when we come out to your house and give you a quote, if the price is within your budget and you trust that we're going to do a good job, are you going to be ready to book into our schedule? Okay. If the price is within your budget and you trust that we're going to do a good job, will you be ready to book into our schedule? Okay. What does this do? Now, number one, it shows the homeowner that you're serious. You're not just going out to give a price, but you're out to book a job. And that's what we should be doing. So based on the answer that the homeowner gives you, that's going to determine what you do next. So option number 1, the homeowner responds with, you know what? No, we're just price shopping right now. We're just pricing it out. Not really serious. Don't really know when we're going to get it done. Okay, no problem. Well, we don't actually go out and just do quotes. We come out to book work because we're very busy. We have a lot to do. I can give you a ballpark over the phone. And then when you get a little bit closer to the decision making process, you can give me a call back and we can come out and give you an exact price. How does that sound? Cool. What this does is this shows that you're an authority. You don't have time to waste by running around the city just giving prices. You're there to book a job. So they might think twice about just price shopping. Now, the second thing that they're going to respond is a subtle hint that an objection is coming, right? Oh, no, you know what? I won't be able to make a decision because my wife has to be here. Or no, I'm not going to be able to make a decision because we're going to get 3 quotes, right? Now, you don't have to necessarily deal with that objection right now. If it's like a 3 quote objection or something, but if it's a spouse objection where they're like, yeah, I need to make sure, like, I need to run it by my wife and she's not going to be here. Great. Well, let's reschedule this estimate for when you guys are both there. How does that sound? Right. So, boom, you do that. You reschedule it to when they're both there. You have now pre-handled a spouse objection. What a great way to do it. Right. Now, the third thing that they may answer is just, yes, we're going to be ready to book. Right. Cool. That's what we want to hear. And we're excited to see you tomorrow. Right on. Hang up the phone. And once you have that estimate booked, I do recommend using some sort of automation software, whether it's Drip Jobs or Calendly, to send the client a text message and email confirming them of the time of their estimate, as well as giving them a couple gentle reminders before the estimate actually comes up. Cool. There's the pre-sale process. Now, hopefully your automations are giving them like a 4-hour reminder and a 10-minute or 1-hour reminder. And now you show up to the homeowner's house right on time. You show up exactly on time, not a minute late, not 5 minutes early. If you're going to be a minute late, you call the homeowner when you're on your way and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to be 1 minute late. I'm terribly sorry about that. Homeowner's going to be like, oh, you mean a minute late? Okay, I don't care. See you soon. Click. What that does, and you may not think being a minute late is a big deal, but by calling, it's really not being a big deal. 1 minute late, not a huge deal. But if you're going to be a minute late and you call the homeowner and you say, I'm going to be a minute late, what that does is shows the homeowner how much you value their time, and how you deal with one thing is how you're going to deal with everything. So if you treat the appointment with that much respect, they're going to subconsciously believe that you're going to treat their whole home with that much respect. And I hope that you actually do, not just make them think that you will, but you actually should. So call them if you're going to be 1 minute late, show up exactly on time, knock on the door as soon as the clock strikes noon or whatever time the estimate is at. Professional greeting. Hopefully you're dressed up nicely, button up shirt, logo, hat with the logo, clipboard with the logo, potentially even a lanyard. Like, you want to look good. The better you look, the more you can charge. It's legit. So look really good, show up, and walk in the home. First thing you're going to do is ask if we can sit at the table and talk about the project, right? This getting to the kitchen table with the homeowners, with both decision makers ideally, is a great first step. Take off your shoes, always. Go into the homeowner's house and sit down at the kitchen table. All right. If they offer you a drink, if they offer you coffee or water or soda, take it. It is a subtle psychological trick. You want to take it. This is going to now integrate you with their household, right? Take them up on their coffee, their tea, their water, their juice, whatever they offer you. Just say, yes, please. That would be great. Thank you. Now you can start asking them about their project. Ask them about the scope, when it was last painted. I know you might have went through some of this before on the setup call, but now you can get into it a little bit more. Once you understand their project, you're going to do a walkthrough or a walk around, whatever you want to call it. Start pointing out parts of their project, talking about your expertise, talking about in a present tense as if you've already won the job. It's called future pacing, right? You're going to make them think that you're already there painting. All right, when we're here, we're going to be putting down all of our drop cloths right here. Is there a spot? Where is the best place that we can keep our tools? All right, cool. We're going to clean up every night. Is there a bathroom? Blah, blah, blah. So just talking through all of these minor expectations that the homeowner has. And what you're doing is, as you're asking the homeowner questions, you're listening for what's important. And what's important is typically not like scope or materials or things like that, or process. The things that are important are, we have a 100-year-old dresser in the bedroom that we really want to make sure is protected. We have these really fancy carpets that we can't get any paint on. We have a dog that tries to sneak out every time that someone opens the door, right? What are these things that are kind of personal, that are specific to their project, that you can add into your proposal to make them see that you're listening, right? So when we get fast forward here a few minutes, when we get to the proposal, we're going to put that in. Painters will all make sure that the doors are closed so the dog doesn't get out, right? And those little things that you put into the proposal are going to go a mile with the homeowner, right? Cool. You do the walkthrough, and now after you do the walkthrough with the homeowner, here comes trial close number 2. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I believe I have a good understanding of the entire project, the entire scope, everything we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go to my vehicle. I'm going to go write up a proposal and the exact price that it's going to take to do this job. It's going to take me 20, 25 minutes. I'm going to get you exact price. And then I'm going to come back in. And when I do, if the price is within your budget, if the price is what you're thinking it's going to be, and you feel like you can trust that we're going to do a good job, are you going to be ready to book in? So this trial close, the verbiage really doesn't have to be any different than the first trial close. Just if you trust that we're going to do a good job, and the price is within your budget, are you ready to book in? Cool. Typically by now, if you've done everything that I've said so far, more likely than not, it's going to be a, yeah, we are. Right. But again, it's an opportunity where other objections might rise to the surface. Other objections might come up at this point if there are there. Right. Oh, we're going to have to think about it. Oh, we're going to need 3 quotes, or we're going to pray on it, whatever. They might happen. Let's hope not, but they might. That's why you do the trial close. Again, it shows them what's coming. It tells them how your process works, and it gets them in that buying mindset. You're not there to book. You're not there to do a quote. You're there to book a job. All right. You put your boots back on. You go to your vehicle. And then you write up your proposal. All right, guys. Do not go home and write up the numbers at home and come back the next day or text them or email them. We're trying to get away from that. The whole reason I'm doing this is so that you are presenting the proposal on the spot. Right? That is huge. So you go to your vehicle, you write everything up, and you make sure to include in your proposal, whether using drip jobs or estimate rocket or whatever, include in the proposal those intangibles, those personal items that are important to the client, right? They had a bad experience with the previous contractor. They want to make sure the job site's really clean. They want to, protect their coaches. They want to, blah, 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 whatever those things are, put them in the contract, right? Really, really important. So you put that in the contract, come up with the exact price. I always like doing an odd number. Like if it's going to be, $8,100, I'll do like $8,122. So that it's a specific number. Obviously, more thought goes into a specific number like that, and there's a lot less room for negotiation. Like if I just put in $2,100, like, oh, can you do it for $1,800? It's like, no, But if you put it in for $2,188, it's like, oh, can you do it for 2,100 flat? Like, or something like that, right? It's like if you have an odd number, or more of a random number, it just is less open to negotiation. Now, you come back in. Little pro tip I've talked about before, but one of the things that you can do to again increase that friendship appeal or relationship is just knock on the door and let yourself in and announce yourself as you come in. Instead of waiting for them to come to the door, knock, open, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. That can be a really good way to, again, improve that relationship that you have. Now, you're not going to just stand at the front door and show them the price. Ideally, you get back to the kitchen table. Hey, can we sit down and go over this again? Cool. Let's go over this. I'll take you through in a lot of detail. Ultimately, they're making a $4, $8, $12, $15,000 decision. People don't make $15,000 decisions standing at their doorway. They make those decisions at their table with their spouse, thinking through it. So if you can get them sitting down again, that will definitely help. Go get them sitting down, and now we start building value. We do not go. Sometimes you can go straight to the price. You can go to the price and then go back and build value. So, hey, Mrs. Jones, price is $15,281. Let me show you how I got there. Or you can just start building value right away. Either or, whichever one feels right for you, go after it. But start at the top of your proposal and start going down. All right, here's what we're going to do. Here's the scope. Here's the bedrooms, two coats, trim, doors, windows, hallways, go through all of the scope. We're going to use these materials. And then here's the special considerations. We're going to make sure the doors are closed because the dog. And then we have this one. And then just clean job site because they had a bad experience, blah, blah. So putting those intangibles on there, going through them. Does this all make sense? How does this sound? Did I miss anything? Is there do you feel like you can trust us? Or do you feel we're going to do a good job? Is this thorough? Did we miss anything? Cool. Now, if you haven't presented the price yet, now we're going to do the third trial close. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you feel, and now instead of future pacing, and if you feel like you can trust us, now we can go to present tense. Do you feel like we're going to do a good job? Do you trust that we're going to do a good job? Cool. Do you want us to do the work for you? Yes. All right. Now, if the price is in the budget, are you going to be ready to schedule with us? Cool. Yes. All right. So the price for this entire project, $15,221. Now, here's what we do. We don't just present the price and stop. We present the price, show them the deposit that's required, which I recommend 20%, and then sell the deposit. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's $15,288. Now, to book in, we take a 20% deposit. So 20% is only $3,108. Only thing due today is the deposit, so $3,188. How would you like to handle that? And then you stop talking. So you tell them the price, you tell them the deposit, the exact deposit amount, and then ask them, how would you like to handle that? Once you ask that, you stop talking, you shut up, and you wait for them to reply. They're going to have to think about it here. They're thinking about it. They're looking at each other. Maybe they're whispering back and forth. They're talking to each other. But you don't have to start talking again until they talk to you. The ball is in their court. If they want a little bit of time, say, hey, would you guys like to just talk about it? I can just walk into the other room for a little bit. I got to answer a couple emails anyway. You can just step outside. No big deal. Give them the time that they need. Eventually, they're going to start asking some questions. Oh, is this involved? Is this included? Are you going to be doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Answer the questions as they come. Cool. The deposit is $3,188. How would you like to handle that? Right? We can get you in, and just like you said, you want to get in March 3rd, we can get you in March 3rd, but that time's going to fill up soon. Cool. So I'm going to get into objections in a second here. However, recently I was asked, would you ever increase your price by 15% to give the homeowner a perceived 15% discount? To that, I would say a ginormous hell no. If you're going to give them a discount, actually give them a discount. Don't just do a fake discount to try to close the job. I find that disingenuous. If you do one thing like that, you're going to do other things like that. Your team's going to see it. So just don't lie to the customer. Don't do fake discounts. If you're going to give them a deal, give them a deal. Okay. So you go through this entire process and you do your trial close, you try to sell the deposit, and the homeowner says, wow, that is expensive. That's too much money. Okay, cool. We got the money objection, the first of the four. And this is the biggest one, right? This is obviously the one that we get the most. Now, the money objection will rear its ugly head for a few different reasons. Okay. Now, typically, a money objection is because enough value hasn't been created for, like, there's still a price value discrepancy. And so because we're very diligent about the sales process with everything that you're going to be doing throughout the sales process that I just brought you through, the whole goal of everything that we've done so far is to reduce that discrepancy, reduce the price value equation as much as possible. Now, if they say it's too expensive, you're not just going to take that and say, oh, let me reduce the price for you. No, right? Or walk away and blah, blah, blah. What you're going to do is break that into, you're going to ask a question, right? You're going to meet their objection. Oh, that's too much money, right? Okay. So is it too expensive or is it more than you want to spend? Now, those are two very different things. Is it too expensive? That just, if they say it's too expensive, that means that enough value has not been built. Okay. If not enough value has been built, now we need to go back to the start of the proposal and start building value again. Okay. Well, let me show you again where the price came from. You can even break down how many hours it is, how many gallons, how much time it's going to take, all your experience, the tools that are required, and really break it down. This is where the price comes from. But if it's more than they want to spend, but the value is there. Now we can start talking about scope, right? And maybe like, okay, so how much did you want to spend? Okay, it's 15,000. You wanted to spend 12. Well, why don't we just take off the bathrooms for now, and then that'll actually get us down to 12, right? So you're not reducing the value of your work by giving them a discount, but you're just taking off scope in order to hit their budget, right? The difference between it's too expensive versus it's more than I wanted to spend. Now, there is the other one, which is, hey, I got another quote for half that price, right? Cool. Now, I really like this one. This is the response that I'm going to give you for this one is actually the same response that I would give to a few objections, including the 3 quotes objection and I need to think about it objection. And that is basically showing them where you can get it, where you can cheap out on price. And that goes like this. So, all right, so you got a quote that's half your price. Well, number one, we're insured and licensed and bonded, so you know you're going to get trustworthy people, right? And I've been doing this a long time. I know how to price a paint job. And essentially, we know a lot of the lower price competitors, and it's up to you if you want to go with them. You absolutely can. But I'm just going to share this with you. There's 3 ways someone can provide a cheaper paint job than what we're providing. They can use cheaper, they can hire cheaper labor so they can underpay their painters. So number 1, do you want underpaid painters in your home? I don't think so, right? So you can get cheaper labor. We pay our painters really well. We have the best painters there are in the area. And we want to make sure that our painters are well paid. They support their families. They have living wages. So that's number 1 is they can cheap out on labor. Number 2, they can cheap out on paint. So for paint, we're actually using whatever, Emerald, whatever type of product you have. And this is very good paint. If we're painting your home, we want it to last. Now, that's the second spot someone can cheap out is if they buy cheaper paint. And because of the paint that we spec, this is very high grade, high quality. I think that you love your home and we want to have a lasting finish. So, and we don't want you to have to repaint every year. So we're using high quality paint. Now, the third is hours. Again, we've been doing this a long time. I know how many hours it's going to take to properly prepare and paint this home. So we need to sand, we need to fill holes, we need to do, caulking, we need to do A, B, and C. We need to make sure that the job is properly done. So we can do, in order to do it for cheaper, we would have to do it in fewer hours. Now, you have a beautiful home. I don't think that you want lower paid workers, cheap paint, or a rush job. Do you? Okay. So we're not doing any of those. We're doing the job right at this price. So if you would like the job done right, we can do it. We can get it done for this price. How does that sound? Cool. Little bit rusty on that one. You can probably concise that down a little bit. Cheaper labor, cheaper paint, fewer hours. That's kind of the moral of that story. So break that down for them and show them, and just really show them the value. Most homeowners, don't want to cheap out on any of those areas. And the homeowners that do want to cheap out on that, those aren't our customers anyway, right? Those aren't the customers that we want, really. So the next one, 3 quotes, right? I want to get 3 quotes. Thank you for the quote, but I want to get 3 quotes. You really need to get a gut check, price check, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's go back. Let's circle back again. All right. So from everything we've said so far, do you trust that we'll do a good job? Okay. Is the price, do you believe the price is fair for the work that we're going to be doing? Okay. We're using this much paint. It's going to take this many days. We have this many guys. We've been doing it for this many years. Do you trust it will be do you trust that we'll do a good job? And is the price fair? Okay. Well, then what else are you looking for? Did we miss anything? No. Oh, just want to see if we can get any cheaper. Okay. Right on. Cheaper labor, cheaper paint, fewer hours. All right. Go back again. Do you trust that we'll do a good job? Is the price fair for the work we're going to be doing? Cool. Here's the deposit. Here's the deposit amount. How would you like to handle that? Again, cycle, cycle, cycle. Cool. Next one, I need to think about it. So what do you need to think about? And just, oh, that's great. Totally. You can think about it, or you want to agree with them, validate them. Absolutely. You can think about it. But just so I know, what do you need to think about? Right. And what I need to think about it is typically just a delay objection or uncertainty objection, and it's a smokescreen for something else. Oh, well, I just want to get another quote, right? Or it's more than I wanted to spend. Okay, got it. Well, asking some questions about that objection, about that I need to think about it objection, will help you kind of just figure out which is the real objection, and then please see previous objection. And then finally, the spouse partner objection. Oh, this is all great, but I need to talk to my spouse. Oh, it's great. I need to talk to my husband. Well, you should have handled that at the setup call, making sure that the spouse was there. And on either of the other trial closes, you should have identified that the spouse needed to be there in order for a decision to be made. Now, is this every objection that you would ever experience in any way? No, this is just kind of like the high level objections that are typically um, will present themselves. And if you're prepared to handle these objections, I'm sure that you're going to be able to close a lot more jobs. So money, just quick recap. Is it too expensive or is it more than you want to spend? Right? Splitting those up. 3 quotes. What are you really looking for? Do you trust will do a good job? Is the price fair for the work that we're going to be doing? I need to think about it. Okay, what do you really need to? What do you need to think about? Totally agree. You definitely need to think about, but just curious what you need to think about, and then digging in a little bit there, and then of course partner spouse objection. So I think that's it for today. Go through this. If you need to re-listen to any of those spots, please let me know. And what I'm going to do in this episode is put in the QA on Spotify. If you just go below the episode, there should be a questions and answers. Put in the objection that you want me to handle on the next podcast, and I will do another episode handling some of those objections that are posted below. That being said, thank you guys for listening. And if you haven't already, it really, really helps me. Please rate the podcast while you're down there. Just give it a quick 5 stars or a thumbs up or whatever. I think it's a 5 stars. If you give us 5 stars, that would be so great. We don't run ads to this podcast. The only way that we can promote it or that we promote it, the only way they can grow is if you give us 5 stars, if you rate it on Spotify, and if you share it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.